Prime Minister Mark Carney is making a slew of promises today to municipal leaders across the country.
We bring in our Glenn McGregor joining us in Ottawa, keeping an eye on these meetings with the Canadian mayors. And Glenn, it looks like a number of things at top of mind, like transit, jobs and housing.
This is kind of a new tradition for Canadian prime ministers, is to always attend the annual meeting of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities that represents about 2,000 cities, towns, villages, counties across the country. About 92% of the Canadian population, according to the FCM, is represented here. So it's kind of becoming an increasingly important stop for prime ministers to make. And now particularly so, given the importance of housing over the last year. I mean, we sort of forget this election campaign that we just came out of was really kind of fought on trade and tariff issues and affordability and housing, sort of maybe a lesser component of that. But Carney, during that campaign, did promise to build 500,000 new homes every year. In order to do that, he needs the communities, municipalities really on board and really getting behind this plan that he is pushing called Build Canada Homes. Essentially what it is combining all the federal government departments that have a role in housing and getting them kind of all acting in concert with the provinces and with the municipalities. Part of this plan involves a $25 billion fund for new homes, as well as something that Carney is really pushing now is the building of modular homes. So these are homes that are built off-site, and Carney envisions this using almost entirely Canadian timber and Canadian industry to do this, and then they're transported to the home site rather than being built in situ in place. Now listen to what Carney was saying about Build Canada Homes when he was speaking here this morning.
We will create Build Canada Homes, a lean, mission-driven organization that will accelerate the development of deeply affordable housing projects, that will catalyze an entirely new housing industry based on Canadian technology, Canadian workers, and Canadian lumber.
So getting a pretty good response from this group of mayors and other community leaders, city councilors here. They are eager to hear this and happy to hear that he wants to put up a lot of money for this. But you hear Carney talking about deeply affordable homes, more than just affordable housing. So that means bringing the cost of new housing down. Carney would do this by eliminating the GST on new builds worth less than $1 million. So that's going to save up to $50,000 on the cost of a home. The other more contentious part of his plan is to cut municipal development fees. So those are the fees that communities charge for building new homes in order to sustain some of their services, things like policing, fire departments, schools, infrastructure for those new homes. Bringing water and electricity and gas to those things to new communities is expensive. So Carney says he wants to see those development fees cut in half, but these municipalities who are represented here, they need that money to fund those programs. Carney saying today that he will ensure that this new program, Build Canada Homes, leaves municipalities, communities whole. That means they will not be out of pocket, that the money will still come from somewhere else. So we're a long way from this actually happening, though. Carney's got to bring legislation before the House of Commons to set this up, to get this going, to approve the funding for these projects. But so far, off to a good start in terms of the reception he's getting here. A pretty warm reaction. Municipal leaders here liking what he has to say about affordability, about building new homes. He didn't talk really say anything about transit. That was one sort of thing that was kind of absent from this. He wasn't on a compressed time schedule, but certainly transit projects right across the country looking for federal dollars as well. Carney did talk more generally about nation-building projects, the importance of moving on these things quickly. One thing that it could come up, though, is the fact the federal government is now tending to kind of bypass the provinces and bring their case and bring the funding directly to municipalities, as Carney outlined with this plan. This weekend, he is heading to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan for a meeting with provincial and territorial premiers. That will be something that's going to be discussed there. But Carney's saying it's really important, everybody working together, get these projects underway quickly, not just the houses, but the big projects, energy projects that are ultimately going to create jobs in these communities and also give further insulation economically to some of the problems that they've been dealing with the Trump trade threats. A lot of, we heard from some American mayors who were here today talking about how they can work with Canadian counterparts quite often, right across the border to ensure that their communities are also well positioned to deal with the economic effects of these tariffs. Mel, Faiza, back to you.
A promise to act with urgency. That is our Glenn McGregor on location in Ottawa. Glenn, thank you.